Okay, let's go. Whoa! This is the weirdest, most unique, and innovative cinema camera that I've ever seen, but it just got even better. Check this out. Now you have the smallest cinema camera on a gimbal that you've ever seen in your life. And this really might be the most underrated cinema camera that I've ever seen. The question is, why aren't people using it? Why aren't people talking about it as much as I feel like they should be? It has the best gimbal ever made, 4-axis, not just 3-axis, takes away that up and down movement, the telltale sign of you're using a gimbal. It's kind of awkward and not so nice. 6K ProRes HQ, insane quality. The image looks amazing. We have LIDAR follow focus, basically make any manual lens an autofocus lens. Built-in ND filters, really easy transmission system in a fairly lightweight package, and it's modular and therefore should be upgradable, all for $6,800. And now we can even remove the camera and gimbal and use it wherever we want. Honestly, my guess is this sounds too good to be true. There's gotta be a catch. It has to be a gimmick, right? Well, let's take a look and find out. First, we gotta talk about this whole new umbilical cord situation. They're calling it Ronin 4D Flex. And this allows you to rig up the Ronin 4D in completely new ways. And you can even take the handles off here, grab the monitor, power it on, and now you can shoot with this tiny little setup. It's a cinema camera with a little gimbal. So it's not just for, you know, car mounting and mounting on a long pole so you have a jib. You can also shoot with this. Like, I could see this, like, you know, in a backpack, and then you only need to carry this part with your hands, which is much lighter than carrying the whole system. Very interesting. I'm not exactly sure all of the uses for something like this, but I like what DJI is doing here. So we have the camera in a backpack here. Let's turn this sucker on. And we have the gimbal on a long stick. Have you ever felt this dumb filming before? I don't even know how I got the job. I've never picked up a camera before. All right, we're gonna try to get some sort of shot. Let's see. I absolutely love that. I could just turn on NDs here, change the f-stop, change the shutter speed, and I even get to control the camera just from this. It's just crazy. And let's go for it. Come down. So it's not quite ideal that I'm the one in the frame and doing the controlling here, but this is fun. So we realized doing it, because I'm the one in the shot and trying to do the gimbal control, it doesn't work, but active track like this is sick. All right, let's try to get the shot we were trying to get. Okay, so with active track, our stupid stick thing is incredible. Like, that was already a really cool shot that was like first try right away. I could just imagine putting this on like a car or something, and then you put on active track and you can just track the car like perfectly and get insane shots, and it's so easy to mount because it's so small. They're basically just giving you a lot of options. For example, to mount a big cinema camera on a car, for example, requires quite a lot of stuff, whereas just mounting this little part doesn't need as much, and it's much safer also. For the people that don't have unlimited budgets, I could see this being so much faster and just easier to set up, rig. It really feels like this camera rig is from the future. Can you imagine just mounting this little gimbal on the car, and then you're sitting inside, and then you just get to frame up however you want, focus here however you need to, and you get to see exactly what's happening. That's a really powerful tool. It's just one more cool way to use the Ronin 40, just adding so many different use cases. And I actually didn't realize how many lenses actually fit on this system. That was one of my biggest worries when I first tried out the Ronin 40 system. Was I thought that you could only put like really small lenses on here, but you could actually put a lot of my favorite lenses onto this little gimbal. For example, right now I'm using the Sony 24mm f1.4. Works perfectly with autofocus and everything. Now you do lose one of the most interesting things to me about the Ronin 40, which is that 4-axis gimbal stabilization, because that's on here. You don't have it out here, so you do miss out on that when you're doing this umbilical cord situation thing. Speaking of 4-axis, this never gets old. So if you didn't know it, there's actually sensors down here that can detect how much you're moving the camera, and the camera steadies itself even vertically. Oh my gosh. If you haven't used this, you will freak out at how good the stabilization is. But why don't I just show you how good it is? And as you admire the crazy stabilization, all of this music in this video is from Artlist, one of the best places to get music for your videos. You know, so you don't get sued for copyright. Don't take my word for it. You can get 2 free months right now with the link down below and see for yourself. There's tons of really high quality music to choose from, and the fact that it's so affordable makes it a no-brainer to use. I still remember getting quotes for $5,000 for one song, one video. Thank you, Artlist, for destroying that era of music licensing. And if you didn't know, Artlist now has the Max bundle. So not only do you get super high quality music affordably, you get all of the stock footage and plugins and video templates, all of that for an affordable price. And I know I've said this before, but their stock footage is so high in quality. And the best part is it's not just random clips, it's full scenes, so you can actually tell stories just using stock footage. Thanks Artlist for sponsoring this video, and thank you so much for giving us filmmakers incredible tools like these. Oh man, I just had a weird moment. I picked up my Sony and I started filming with it, or just like looking through the LCD, and just felt so shaky. Oh, this is too good. It makes the, oh man. Okay, so how good is that stabilization? No other gimbal does what this does that I've seen of, at least, and it's built straight in to the camera. All right, this is Isaac's first time ever using the Ronin 40?
No. I got first access to this before Matti even got it.
Isaac has never used this, so technically he would be the super noob, and it should be very shaky. And we're putting it to the test right away.
I can make it shaky if you want me to make it shaky.
You're enjoying that way too much. Okay, I'm gonna put Isaac in the worst situation possible. Down low, filming sideways, trying to follow me on a one wheel while he's running.
Yes.
Okay, let's go. Whoa! Okay, and go. How is it, Isaac? Look how shaky.
I did leg day yesterday.
Reviewing the footage.
Oh, scrubbing, that's so good.
Look at that. It's like perfect. It's like you've been using this thing for...
That's funny.
Ronin 40 can even make the worst of us good. We also have built-in ND filters. Love that. We also have my favorite, LIDAR, and it blows me away every time I use it. It's the most fun way of focusing. And on top of that, you can make it autofocus any manual lens. So if you don't know how the LIDAR works, I think I need to make a full video on this, but briefly, it basically shows you where things are in depth. So you kind of have like perfect dynamic focus marks for wherever your subjects or your walls or whatever are. So even if your subject misses their mark by a little bit, you can just adjust because you know exactly where they are and whether or not you're focusing on them. It's incredible and it's really fun to use. All that sounds great, even if it works really well, but the question still is it all just a gimmick? Is it too good to be true? For me, what would make this a gimmick is if the final product, the final image just looked meh, if it didn't look good. If the image quality sucks, all of these fancy tools are for nothing. But honestly, I think the image quality and the footage that you get out of this look really good.
That has to be the dumbest filming I've ever done, and it still looks cool. Active track. I wasn't even doing anything there. I was just running around like an idiot.
The image is very pleasing in my mind. And my biggest concern when I first checked out this whole system was the lenses. I thought it was gonna be so limited in lenses that would kind of just deter people away from it. But now realizing how many lenses it can actually use, you can just put in an E mount or an L mount, and there's so many lenses that you can go for. And the lens mount is actually really fast and easy to change. It's almost as fast as just changing a lens. Okay, but you can't put like massive cinema lenses on here. That is a downside. And for some people, if you're on high-end shoots, yeah, you're not gonna go for this. You're gonna go for an Airy or something like that. But the lens situation is way better than I thought. And you can just use this as a normal, plain old, boring cinema camera. If we lock all the axes and we can shoot how we would normally with a cinema camera. No gimbal, we can get the nice shake here, everything. It's a normal cinema camera. Now, it is a bit weird that it takes a little bit, you heard that beeping, for the gimbals to kind of freak out and then to go to sleep. And then you can just use it like a normal cinema camera. But I feel like they should do a little bit better job of like saying like, hey, you can also use this, you know, as just on a tripod, basic cinema camera. It also works like that. That's the coolest part. It's not just one thing. You can do normal basic cinema camera. You can have the 4D stabilization. You can hook it up to the umbilical cord situation and mount it to a car really easily. This can do so many different scenarios. And because it's modular, in theory, you could just swap out the sensor for a better sensor. They're coming out with 8K this year at some point. Or maybe it's just this whole gimbal situation. You just buy whatever the next better version of this is, and then you just attach it, and now you basically have a new camera with a better sensor. I really like what DJI is doing, and modular doesn't always work that well. I think modular a lot of times is just very scary or gimmicky. Even when I now got back to this and set it all up, I was very overwhelmed at first. But then once you get used to it, you're like, man, this is really fun. It just opens up all these different ways of shooting that I normally don't do. And I don't know, I really like that. So all that to say, I really do think this is the most underrated cinema camera of 2023. And my guess is it's gonna get a lot more popular as people start to realize how powerful this is. Who else is doing cinema cameras like this? Nobody else. And I think that's part of the problem. But also, I think it's gonna change the way people make films. Well done, DJI. I like it.
Okay, let's go. So the one wheel bugged out for a second there for some reason.